Hey everyone, my name is Allie and welcome to my channel, and today I'm going to be doing the mid-year book freakout tag. So I did this tag last year and I'm so excited to do it this year because I have read so many more books already in the year of 2019. I'm almost at 50 books. I think I'm around 47 right now, and I'm just like blown away with how many books I've read this year. I'm so proud of myself, and I really hope that the rest of the year is just as good as the first half. So without spending too much time on the intro, I'm gonna get right on into the questions, and I'll leave them all down below just in case you also want to do this video. So the first question is the best book that I've read in 2019. I think this almost goes without saying because you guys know how much I love this book, and that is going to be Daisy Jones and the Six by Taylor Jenkins Reid. This was one of my most anticipated books of this year, and it completely met my expectations and then surpassed my expectations. It's just one of my all-time favorite books. It's definitely in the top 5 now, and I'm just so in love with this book. I'm so in love with Daisy. I'm so in love with the writing style, and I'm also so in love with the subject matter, and just everything that goes on in this book is just so perfect, and it's just like this book was like written for me on all of like my niche interests, and I really enjoyed it. And I also have an entire video talking about Daisy Jones and the Six, so I'm not going to elaborate too much in this video. You can totally check that out. I will leave it in the link down below. The next question is the best sequel that I read in 2019, and I think this one also kind of goes without saying, and that's definitely The Wicked King by Holly Black. I read this book earlier this year and I absolutely loved it. I gave it a 5 out of 5 stars, which is a little bit more than the 4 out of 5 stars that I gave The Cruel Prince. And I really enjoyed The Wicked King. I laughed, I cried. It was just a roller coaster of emotions, and I cannot wait for the Queen of Nothing. And I'm just so ready to see where the ending of this series goes. And this is definitely my favorite sequel of this year, and I think Holly Black just really outdid herself with this one. The third question is a new release you haven't read yet but definitely want to this year, and that would be Don't Date Rosa Santos by Nina Moreno, and I'm so excited to get to this one. This is actually on my TBR for this month, but I don't think that I'm going to get to it. I think it'll probably be read maybe in July or August, and I definitely want to get to this as soon as possible. I also have the audiobook as well, but I really want to read it as a physical copy, so I'm just gonna have to like sit down and just read this one day, and I think that if I like it enough I could probably finish it in one sitting. I really haven't heard too many negative things about it. There have been a few like kind of like 3-star ratings, but definitely nothing like super negative, which is really reassuring. And I'm just so excited to have some more Latinx rep, and I know that so many people that I love and trust have really adored this book, and that is super reassuring because I am just so excited about this. I really don't want this one to let me down. The fourth question is most anticipated release for the end half of the year, and I have so many books that I'm anticipating that are coming out in the end half of the year. And the first one is definitely Capturing the Devil by Carrie Maniscalco. That one is coming out on the 10th of September, and I'm just so ready to see what the ending of this series has in store for us. This has just been so highly anticipated, and I love the concept. I love the idea of them getting to go to America, and by them I mean Audrey Rose and Thomas Cresswell, obviously. If you haven't read this series, which is Stalking Jack the Ripper, you need to read the series. I can't go too in depth on this one because it is the 4th book out of the series. It was meant to be a trilogy, but our queen, Carrie Maniscalco, blessed us with the 4th book, and I'm just so excited to see where this one takes them and see where it takes the story, and I just love this series so much. It is so gory, it's so romantic, and it's just everything I could have ever wanted from a historical fiction. It's just so perfect. I love it. And then, like I said, I'm also super excited about Queen of Nothing by Holly Black. That's going to be the 3rd book in the Cruel Prince series, or the Folk of the Air series, and I am just so excited about Queen of Nothing. I have absolutely loved this series. I love Jude, I love Carden, and I hate Taryn, and I hate Locke, so I mean, I'm just ready to see what's in store for my favorite characters and what's in store for my like most hated characters. I'm just so ready for Holly Black back to ruin my life. I'm so ready. And then of course, I mean, this video would not be complete without a reference to Ninth House by Leigh Bardugo, the queen, the absolute amazing queen, Leigh Bardugo. I am so ready for Ninth House. I did request an arc of it like a month ago, 2 months ago maybe, and I never got it, and I'm so sad. I really wish I would have been approved for an arc, but I wasn't, and it's okay. I'm not too heartbroken, but I am just so excited to get the Ninth House, and I'm ready for it to be out already, and I just want to see what happens. And it's super exciting that this is going to be an adult novel. I think it's kind of more like new adult because it is set in a college, I'm pretty sure, but I mean, it's still adult, and I just want to see where Leigh Bardugo takes us. And I feel like her writing for adult is just so natural, and it's just going to be so amazing, and I'm just ready for Ninth House to ruin me. The fifth question is biggest disappointment, and this year I've actually read a lot of really amazing books. I haven't really been super disappointed by really any books I've read this year. I've been DNFing a lot of books, which is really good for me, and it just hasn't really happened yet. However, I am in the middle of a certain book that's really, really hyped, very, very popular, and I'm super, super sad that I'm really disappointed by it so far, and that is Red, White, and Royal Blue by Casey McQuiston. And right now, if I were to like give this a rating, I'm about a little over 200 pages in, which is a little over halfway through. So if I was to give this a rating right now, it would be probably around 3 or 2.5 out of 5 stars. I am really, really disappointed by this book for multiple reasons, and one of them being that it's written in third person and it's a contemporary, and that was super off-putting for me. I kind of started it thinking that like it wouldn't really bother me too much, but for some reason it's just kind of grinding my gears having to read something in third person when I'm so used to reading contemporary in first person, and I actually prefer it being in first person. So it's just super hard for me to read this as a third person point of view. And then I also really don't like how long it is. I feel like there's so many filler scenes and so many things that could have totally been cut by an editor and just weren't. I feel like this definitely needs to go through like at least 1 or 2 more rounds of editing, and I just am not super impressed by the pacing of this book either. And it's just overall been super disappointing for me. I really love the characters. The characters are like the best part of this book, which I think is kind of like the point of the book, at least from what I'm gathering from reading this book, is that it's mostly focused on characterization, which is great because I love character-driven books. However, I feel like there still needs to be a really good plot, and it just hasn't happened. I feel like this plot is super unfocused, and I feel like a lot of the plot has already happened, but then there's gonna be more, and it just doesn't seem like there needed to be this much of a book. It's pretty thick. I think it's a little over 400 pages, and I feel like that's just too much for contemporary and too much for this specific contemporary. And it's just super disappointing because, I mean, we don't have a lot of queer literature, especially queer romance, and especially queer new adult romance. It's just, we're really, really lacking in that area. And I'm just so disappointed that I'm not enjoying this book as much as I wanted to. And I was so excited when I picked this book up, and I just have been so disappointed by it. So I don't want to keep talking about it too much, but I just wanted to kind of explain my opinions and feelings on this book for you guys. Number 6 is biggest surprise, and I feel like there's been so many really, really good surprises for me this year, and it's really, really hard for me to narrow down to just one book. So I feel like one of the biggest surprises and one of the biggest turning points of this year has been me kind of getting into romance books, especially adult romance. And the book that really got me into that this year has been The Simple Wild by K.A. Tucker, and I read that back in January of this year, and ever since then I've been so open and so willing to try adult romance, which is just something I've been trying to do for years, and I finally got into it, and I'm so happy I did, because because I found so many great adult romances, and The Simple Wild was just definitely one that like really got me inspired by the genre and really got me interested in like checking out other adult romances. And basically I could really relate to the main character of The Simple Wild. She's kind of like in an in-between stage in life. I think she's around my age. She can't drive. She has this job that she's not super like thrilled about. It's just kind of an in-between job, nothing really permanent and nothing that she really wants to do forever. And I could just so relate to her so much on so many different levels. She's also super fashionable, which I mean, like, not to say that I'm super fashionable, but I do love clothes. And I don't know, I just really loved her character, and I loved the whole story of like her going to Alaska and being outside of her element and then meeting this guy, and they kind of hate each other for a lot of the book, and then it's like hate to love, and it was just such a good book. And I love The Simple Wild, and if you haven't read it, go read it. I listened to it as an audiobook and it was fantastic. Number 7 is favorite new author, either a debut or new to you, and that one has definitely been Christina Lauren. I have read so many of their books so far this year, and I have loved every single one of them. They've all been either 4 or 5 stars, and I just really love the way that they write adult romances. It feels super accessible and also just something that's totally different from what I'm used to. And I just love the way that they like describe things and characterize and plot out books, and it's just like done so well. And I feel like by now everyone knows, but if you don't, Christina Lauren is a writing duo of Christina and Lauren. So together they're Christina Lauren, and I've just really enjoyed their books. The 1 5-star I gave for them was Roomies, and I absolutely loved Roomies. I've also read The Unhoneymooners, and I've also read Josh and Hazel's Guide, and I love those both as well. They were all very entertaining, and I don't know, they're just like such feel-good stories. They're such good contemporary romances. Like, I feel like they're not too sexual, but they're also sexual enough. Like, it's just like, it's such a good balance of like both plot and sexual stuff. And it's just, I love their books so much. They're just so good. And I love Christina Lauren. So if you're like looking to get into adult romances, I 100% recommend their books. Newest fictional crush. Number 8 is newest fictional crush, and if you know me, you know I'm not super into like book boyfriends or fictional crushes or anything like that. However, I did read King of Scars this year, and let me tell you, my crush on Nikolai just like exploded tenfold. I love Nikolai so much. He is one of my new like all-time favorite characters, and I just totally have a huge ass crush on him. So there you have it. Number 9 is newest favorite character, and I think that's also pretty obvious, and that is Daisy Jones from Daisy Jones and the Six. Like, Daisy is like my newest favorite character. She's just so amazing, and I love her energy. I like aspire to be Daisy and how cool she is, and she's such like a rock star, and I just love her so much. Like, she makes me want to reread the book so bad. Also, I've been wearing so many more hoops lately because of Daisy, as you can see, and I don't know, I just love her vibe. I love her aesthetic. I love her like energy, and Daisy Jones is just like the coolest badass character ever. She is the queen. Question number 10 is book that made you cry, and if you know me, you know I cry a lot during like almost every book I've ever read. And so I feel like this is kind of like a how much did I cry question. And I feel like the book this year that made me cry the most was definitely The Sun Is Also a Star by Nicola Yoon. And that book, like when I tell you that I cried reading The Sun Is Also a Star, I mean that I sat in the library on my school campus literally sobbing. Like, tears just like drenched my face, sobbing, like chest heaving. It was like a different experience reading this book. Like, this book made me cry harder than I think almost any book has ever made me cry. It was just so emotional, and it just hit me in like a spot that I didn't even know that like I had, and it just made me cry so hard, like literally sobbing, like genuine sobbing. and it was very embarrassing, but I mean, it happened, and I'm like, I can't be too ashamed of it. Like, I'm a huge crier, but that was a lot. Like, let me tell you, it was a lot. Number 11 is a book that made you happy, and I'm gonna have to reach behind me one more time. And Hold Up Again But Better by Christine Riccio. Oh my gosh, when I tell you guys that this book made me so happy, it genuinely made me so happy, like skipping down the street happy. I read about 100 pages in Starbucks one day, and it was like getting kind of close to around 7. It was raining a little bit, and I was crossing the street coming back from Starbucks, and I was literally almost skipping. Like, I was so happy. This book like just flipped a switch in me and just like made me so happy. I cannot explain it. I don't really know what magic is going on in this book, but it just made me so happy. And I absolutely loved this book. I gave it a 4 out of 5 stars. I didn't want to give it a 5 out of 5 because like there's always room for improvement. If you've read the book, you know what I'm talking about. And I just loved this book so, so much. It's not necessarily a new favorite, but it's definitely one that has really opened my eyes to what YouTuber books could be like, and I really, really love it. So if you haven't read it, I totally recommend that you do. It's super cute, super cheesy, a lot of fun, and I think it'll make you really happy if you open your heart up to it and kind of go into it with an open mind. Number 12 is Most Beautiful Book You've Bought This Year, and I'm going to show you guys a couple of different books, and these are all some of my favorite covers that I've bought this year. So the first one is A Curse So Dark and Lonely by Bridget Kammerer, and I love this cover so, so much. I love that there's like this kind of cool blue and purple ombre in the dark, as you can see, and also I love the colors, just like the light blue to the dark blue and the greens, and I just think it's such a beautiful cover. And it's just a good example of a really cool but simplistic fantasy cover, and I just love it. I wish more covers looked like this. The next one is a bit more whimsical, and that is Stained by A.G. Howard, and I haven't read this book yet, but I do know that it's a retelling of Princess and the Pea, and I just love all of the purple colors and the gold. It's just so gorgeous, and if you didn't know, purple is one of my all-time favorite colors, so it definitely spoke to me when I saw it at Barnes & Noble. And I don't know, I just think it's so pretty, and I love the texture of the cover. That means a lot to me, is the texture of the cover has to either be like super buttery or just very soft, and this is definitely a very soft kind of cover, and it's just so pretty. And I actually don't mind faces on covers, but this one is just like so pretty. I love her. I love her white hair, and she just looks really, really cool. The very last one is a special edition, and that is the Six of Crows special edition, and this is freaking gorgeous. They absolutely need to do one for Crooked Kingdom, because girl, that's gonna be so gorgeous, and it'll probably be gold. I really, really need that one, but this one is just so perfect. It's so beautiful. Look at that red. It also has red sprayed edges, and the back is so pretty, and just everything about this book is just gorgeous. There's also pictures in the back, which is like super exciting. Like, look at Nina and Matthias. Like, I love them. I would die for them. I just love it so much. I definitely want to reread Six of Crows sometime this year. Hopefully, maybe. If I don't get to it in the next few months, I'll probably get to it by the end of the year, hopefully. Just like, if I don't, yell at me. Question 13 is, what books do you need to read by the end of the year? And there are so many books, like, let me tell you. There are so many books that I need to read by the end of the year, and I will try to list as many of them off as possible right now, but I didn't write any of them down, so I mean, this is kind of going to be on the fly. I really want to finish up the Throne of Glass series, so I need to read things like Kingdom of Ash. I need to read Tower of Dawn. I don't think I'm going to read any of like the novellas or anything, but I definitely need to get those finished. Also, Empire Storms, I haven't finished that one yet, and I definitely need to get to it. I also want to read Ash Princess. I also want to read What If It's Us. There are also a bunch of different Cassandra Clare books I want to read, like Lady Midnight, Lord of Shadows, Queen of Air and Darkness, things like that. Definitely just so many Holly Black books that I want to get to. A lot of other different like just fairy novels in general that I want to read this year. And I feel like there's a bunch of other books, but I'm probably forgetting them, and sorry about that. Probably should have written some of the answers for this question down, but I think you guys get the gist. There are so many books that I need to read by the end of the year, and you could probably see some of them in the background, like Lair of Dreams and Furyborn, and so many other books probably down there that I need to read, like Nevermore. So there are a lot of books that I need to get to by the end of the year. Will I get to all of them? Maybe not, but I'm gonna try my best. That is the very end of this tag. I hope you liked it. I hope I didn't ramble on too much about like each question. And if you want to do this tag as well, I tag you and you can check out the questions down below. And please remember to subscribe to me and follow me on Twitter, Instagram, Goodreads, and I will see you all in my next video. Bye!